But guys, if you take anything from this video, that is the number one tip and trick that we can offer you, is going to be after that shot. And that can mean all the difference in recovering that animal. Could be your dream buck, could be 110-pound doe for your meat for your family. But it doesn't matter. A deer is a deer, and they have one hell of a will to live.
Yeah.
Don't push them. Don't make it harder on yourself. Don't decrease your odds of finding and recovering that animal. Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Beaver Valley Outdoors. And today we are bringing to you our basic deer hunting tips. My name is Jeremy.
And this is Kevin.
Let's dive right into it. Today this is going to be kind of broken down into two parts. The first part is going to be setup, general things to do. Our next part is just going to be flat out just quick fire tips for you guys. Season end to March. Scout your areas out. Secure any new properties if you can to hunt. Look for sheds. Reflect on the season. That's a good time to do that. Kind of decompress. Think about everything that happened in a nutshell. Think about what worked, what didn't, what you could improve on. If you were unsuccessful, you know, was there a certain scenario in your head that you can think about that you would like to redo over? You know, that's a really good time for that. Most of the time for a bad hunt or something to go wrong is tree stand placement. You placed your tree stand in the wrong spot. Not enough cover, not close enough to trails, whatever that may be. Typically, tree stand placement is the number one factor in an unsuccessful hunt. So while you're going out, look for new areas, scout it out, look for new areas to put your tree stand up at. Would a tree work better? When you were hunting, did you notice that tree X would be better for you? This is also a good time. You can review OnX, which is a paid subscription service. If you can't do that, use Google Earth. Pull your farm up or wherever you're hunting, the piece of property, be it a private lease, a farmer who's just letting you hunt, public land. Take a look at it on Google Earth. Don't just look at your little section that you're hunting in. Look at the whole picture. Look at everything all together. That's really about this time. That's really all you're going to get done. You really need to decompress and reflect.
Yeah. And I like from April to July to just go out and scout. It's a really good time to go out, look for trails, look for scrapes, really anything you can to see if there's deer on the area. Once you find like deer in a location, you know, base your tree stand placement off of that in a good spot where you're not going to get winded. Because it doesn't matter how good your scent elimination is, if that wind's bad, you're going to get busted.
Yeah, and I would add on top of that too, don't put your tree stand right on top of a trail. Be at least 20 yards back from the trail.
Yeah, they're very keen to sensing any movement. So you got to be further back so you're not.
Yep. And a good tip on that too is typically during hunting season, the wind doesn't blow out of the south. At least up here in Ohio, it doesn't come out of the south very often. So if you can be south of a good trail, that's where I would set up.
Yeah, absolutely. Tree stand height. Tree stand height matters a lot because if you're 25 and lower, you're gonna need coverage. Whether brush yourself in, they have camo nets you can hang around your tree stand.
Yeah.
If you're 25 feet up plus, I mean, you're high up to the point where it's not as important, but it'd still be a nice thing to have.
Yeah, the higher you can get up, the better. A lot of people do have a fear of heights and things like that, and it does play into that a little bit. Yeah. Don't set your stands up right on the edge of a field or right on bedding area. You want to be back from those areas because you want to catch them as they're going to and from. So if you set up right on the edge of a field and you hunt it in the evening, you're going to spook deer out of there when you're trying to get down. And that'll work one time, maybe two for you, but that'll be about it.
Yeah.
And the same goes for bedding. Yeah. And you don't want to try to walk in and set your tree stand right in a bedding area and try to get in there in the morning. you need to flip-flop those areas. Just keep in mind, deer are opposite of us. They're a nocturnal animal. August to September, depending on what zone you're in, August is usually a good time to set your food plots up. Get those in. I know when we did it in years past, I think it's first couple weeks of August, we'll get our food plot put in. This is usually a time, too, where I stay completely out of the woods. I don't run trail cameras or anything like that myself personally. So I stay out. I let the woods calm down. Typically, I'm bear hunting and during this time anyway, in another state. But now is a good time. Get your food plot set. Get out of the woods. Stay out of the woods. If you're running trail cams, hopefully you've got cellular trail cams with solar battery rechargers on them. Really, and just glass. Just try to, if you can find a spot to glass, if you're glassing a field, do those things, but I would typically try to stay out of the woods as much as possible.
And also during this time at end, you should definitely be, if you're bow hunting, you should definitely start practicing.
Yeah, for sure.
Get that experience in.
Even actually, you could even go back even further than August. You can't over practice, especially with when it comes to a bow.
So from late September to mid October, you don't want to overhunt this time. This is that time of year where you want to go in where you're absolutely certain. You check the night before. Your wind's going to be in the right location. You only want to go out when you know your stand's going to be in a good spot this time.
Yeah, I consider those hunts during that time to be scout hunts, essentially.
Yeah.
For me, it's not so much about getting a deer at that time. It's about scouting and being there. Only when you got the right wind.
Your deer sign will get a lot more active. You'll start seeing more scrapes, more, pathways made. Just, you'll see them on trail cams more. They'll be moving more. And it's very important. Do not overhunt during this time of year. It's critical because it will ruin the rest of your year's hunting. Yeah. If you spook them, they're gone.
Right. Not only that, you don't want to blow out an area before the rut. Yeah, for sure. And even if you're not spooking deer, even if you're 100% certain you've got up in the tree stand, no does are blowing at you, they're not stomping, you're still leaving scent in that area, especially mature bucks. They know that you were there. You will never beat that. You'll never beat it. You just want to decrease it as much as possible.
The only time you really might be able to get away with that is during the rut where
coming up in the next section. So ultimately, guys, if you're blowing out stands early in the season, you are going to spook them onto your neighbor's property, or you're going to make them nocturnal is what's going to happen. And you don't want to do that before the real fun stuff even starts. Okay, the best time of the year, late October to mid-November. It's just like anything else, guys. The more prep work that you put into this, the greater the payoff is going to be for you. The rut will start in your area at the same time every year, regardless of weather, temperature, moon phase. It is literally the same time every single year. What I like to do is keep a journal. What I do, write down what you're seeing, the date, the sex of the animal, the time, the behavior. Keep a journal. Keep patterning them. And then you'll know specifically in your area every year what to do. Not all of us can afford to take a month off like these big YouTubers and hunting show people all do. That's what they do for a living. So they get the best spots, the best times everywhere and always. We don't, 99% of us don't have that luxury. Keep a journal. It will help you tremendously.
And also, side note, the rut will kick back in for any deer that hasn't been bred every 28 days.
Okay, guys, kind of going into some quick fire hunting tips. So during this time, guys, only hunt when it's favorable, when you have favorable winds. Don't overhunt. Don't spook the deer, especially during this time. This is when the rut really is starting to amp up. Now is the critical time. You do not want to be spooking deer. Guys, you need to practice with whatever means you're going to use to hunt. Bow, crossbow, especially crossbow. I hear this a lot. I know some guys who, when they got their crossbow, they will sight it in, and then they never shoot it again until they miss a deer.
Yep.
Ridiculous. Guys, it's just like anything else. Even if you're using a crossbow, you need to get out and practice with it. It needs to become second nature to you. As hunters, guys, we owe it to the animal that we're chasing to ethically take them. granted, that's not always the case. Even the best practicing person can still wound an animal. It still happens, be it either excitement or a little tree branch that you didn't see that deflects your arrow just a little bit. Things do happen, guys, but we need to control the controllables.
So for walking, you want to walk quietly. And what we mean by that is you want to step every time you take a step from heel to toe.
Yep.
Just quietly, every few steps, just stop and listen when you're getting in there in the morning. Make sure you don't hear any.
Well, it applies to the evening too.
Yeah, always. Yeah.
Yeah, you always want to walk as quietly as possible, like Kevin said, heel to toe.
It can be hard, after a hard hunt. You haven't seen anything. You just want to get home, but still, you don't know, especially in the evening when it gets dark. You don't know if there's deer around you when you just got out of the stand. You don't want them to spook out, because then that gets rid of all your chance of harvesting a deer in that spot for a while.
I am guilty of that. The older I get, the better at it I am. There's been times when a buck just would not come into range, and he kept fiddling around. He would be outside the zone, and you're trying to hit your can or do a little bleat when he's not looking, try to draw him over, and he just will not come. I have been so frustrated. I'm kicking around stuff when I get down, just almost making it a point to not be quiet because I'm so frustrated.
Yeah.
And that's usually something that comes with age. I am 40 years old now. I'm a lot better at it, but that is something that I struggled with in the past.
Yeah. Make sure to turn your head slowly. Deer are very prone to sensing movement, especially, fast, twitchy ones.
What do you mean?
Like that, yeah, like that. You want to look with your eyes before you move your head. You want to be slow.
Yep. Deer will never see your eyes move. They'll see your head move, but if you're using your eyes, they will not pick that up. So, guys, you don't have to turn your head very far, and you can use your eyes. That is the biggest tip that I can really give somebody.
And we get it. If you sit in a stand a lot, you'll get uncomfortable. But if you're going to readjust, just make sure there's no deer around you, and just do it real quiet.
Yep, that's the main thing. Here's a good one, especially for you new hunters. It doesn't bother me as much. And Kevin, you're younger, and you do really well with this. But stay off your phone. You need to stay off your phone as much as possible. Remember, guys, you're in the woods for a reason. If you wanted to be on your phone, you might as well just stay home, sit on your couch, and be on your phone. I've been guilty of this too. It does happen in the past. Well, especially me, I have to carry my work phone on me. So there is a certain level of looking at a phone that I do have to do just to make sure everything's okay. But there has been times where I'll log 5-6 hours in the sit, no problem. And it does get hard if you're sitting up in the stand, you're not seeing anything. It's so easy to want to take the phone out and start flipping through Twitter or, whatever social media you're using. A lot of times your buddies will be sending you pictures of deer they're seeing and bucks that they got going on. And then I'll look over and then I'll have a buck 20 yards from me who completely snuck in on me. And you can't get to your bow. You can't move. You got to be real silent, and you still don't want to spook that deer away. It's not really worth risking it to try to get your equipment ready and get it in the game to throw an arrow at it. Gun hunting's a little bit different, but especially with a bow, I would highly recommend that you guys stay off your phone.
Yeah. Wind. So if the wind isn't right, don't go. Pick another spot. It's not going to matter how much scent killer you use or how much cover scent you use. You still, just breathing, you still give off a scent that the deer, if the wind's right, it's going to blow straight at them. They're going to smell it. During the rut, this might not matter as much with a big buck because they don't care. They have breeding on their mind. So if the wind's right, go to a different spot. Maybe just, don't go from it.
Yep, agreed. It seems to me, guys, what I've noticed in the past, young deer and does, it seems like you gotta trigger two of their senses before they'll run or blow. A big buck, you might not even know you had a big buck around you. It seems they hit on one scent, be it either they catch movement, they smell you, maybe they smelled where you walked in. They're gone. They not necessarily are going to blow and huff and puff and do all that and then take off like a bat out of hell. They just may divert clean out of the area. So if you're just meat hunting, you're just out there hunting for a doe or a younger deer, not as not as critical. But I feel like there should be a scientific study on this, because mature bucks don't take much to get out. Even I would even say 2.5-year-old deer.
Yeah.
They bucks just seem to, once they hit 2.5 years and older, one sense is good enough for them. They're out of the area.
Yeah. One thing is, don't be afraid to call. I see a lot of people, especially nowadays, they think they haven't practiced enough, or it just doesn't work, and they don't want to get deer out of the area. But call every 15 minutes or so. It doesn't really hurt that much.
The only thing I would add with that is, guys, if you're calling, make sure there's nothing around you. You don't want to be doing this or twisting your can or, doing the rattling, and a deer is going to pinpoint that. So if you have a deer within sight and you make that noise, I've seen it happen numerous times, they're going to key in right on you. Right where that noise is coming from, they're looking. So if you're going to call that often, and I agree with you too, Kevin, I think you need to call. I have never one time spooked a deer with a call. Mm-hmm. But just make sure there's nothing around. If you're going to rattle, call, moving your hands, just make sure there's nothing around.
Yeah, like especially for a big buck, if you've got one 60 yards away from you and you see it, make sure if you're going to hit your grunt tube, do it away from them, because if you do it at them, yeah, like he said, they're going to pinpoint you. So if you do it, to the left or to the right, it's gonna get their attention, but it's going to make them curious. They're going to want to come in and investigate what that sound was.
I've also seen some bucks, though, that were so fired up, you can do it right at them, and they'll underthink their senses, and they'll just come right into it.
Yeah.
But that's during a very specific, usually that's only a few days out of a year that you can do that.
Yeah.
And to make them come in like that.
Make sure your face and hands are covered. Use face paint, face mask, or just anything to cover up your face. They're not tree colored, right? Make sure your hands are covered up, because if you get into the stand or if you're walking around, your hands, everything you touch is going to leave scent on it, and that's just you want to minimize the risk of being discovered by the deer.
Yep, absolutely. There's been numerous studies and tests done. You guys can YouTube it and find it, I'm sure. Different camo patterns and things like that. And really what all of it boils down to, it does not matter what camo pattern you have on.
Sit still.
Sit still. And the only things that stick out on people is their hands and their face. And if we can pick that out, I know a deer can pick that out. Although a deer does see different than us, but I still feel that they can see us. I've had much more success since I started wearing gloves and a hat. Because when I first started bow hunting, I didn't use all that. Especially if it was late September and 80 degrees out, I wouldn't throw a face cover on or use gloves. It was way too hot. I always thought. But the success rate does go up. The more skin you can cover up, it does go up. There is a direct correlation there. Finally, after the shot, this is the most critical thing, guys. Do not hoot. Do not holler. Don't immediately get right out of your tree stand. You see it on some of these big YouTubers or the hunting shows, and they're high-fiving their buddies. They're going, yeah, man, you smoked him. Don't do any of that stupid stuff. Just don't do it. Even if you're sure that in your mind, if you 99% sure you hit his heart, there's still a 1% chance that you didn't hit as good as you thought you did. And I would say that percentage is probably a lot higher than most people would like to admit. Okay, I don't know how many track jobs I've been on where my buddy said, I hit him right in the heart. We're going to go in there and get him. And a mile and a half later, you're still tracking him. Guys, wait. We're going to throw a graphic up here. It's got different blood collars, things to look at. But my general rule is, after the shot, I'm taking notes of where this deer went. I want to know exactly, no matter how good the shot is, I can't stress this enough. I'm taking notes to where that deer went the last time I saw him. I'm looking at my watch. I'm taking note of the time. And then I sit back down, and I use that time to reflect on the shot. Catch your breath, reflect on it. Hopefully you have an idea of where that you hit. Also during this time, you want to listen for a crash. Deer, they go so far, you hit, in the heart, or you hit some vitals, you hit an artery. Basically, all you're doing, you're waiting on blood pressure to drop, and that animal will just go, and then he'll stand there for a second, and then he'll just tip over and just fall over and be done. You can hear that crash if it happens within close enough range. Also, guys, what I like to do is use a doe bleat right after the shot. You know, you get the rapport from your arrow hitting. I'll have my doe bleat right here, and I'll hit it. Just a lot of times, and especially during the time of the year, if he's hard into the rut, you're more than likely going to stop that buck. So the more that you stop him, the less that you have to go track him and or drag him. So going into it, guys, if you see the deer fall down, you see him fall. I still wait 30 minutes. Just watch the deer. Just give that animal 30 minutes. It's its own personal time of exiting this world. Just give him 30 minutes to be alone, not scared. It's not going to know what's going on. Basically, the lights are going to go out on it. If it runs and it doesn't go down, wait at least an hour. Even if you think you perfectly double lunged him, still, just wait at least an hour, guys. The meat's not going to go bad. Give it time. I know we're all amped up. I've been guilty of this. I find that the older I get, the better at it I can be. Give it time. Even if you know that you put a good shot on him, you have a Luminox or something, and you saw right where it went, give it time. Give it an hour. The unfortunate shot, let's say that you know that you hit it further back. Let's say that even if you're above 50% sure that you hit it in the guts. What I do, I've actually never gut shot a deer, but you can tell your story on it here in a minute. Guys, still wait an hour, get down, look at your arrow, look at the sign that's there that the deer left. You're going to see some greenish, yellow, nasty. It's going to stink. Sometimes there's bits of corn in there. You can see a lot of nasty stuff on a gut shot deer. If you start seeing that, guys, immediately back out. And then you need to at least wait 4 to 5 hours or even the next morning if possible. A lot of times deer, when they're hit and get wounded, they'll only run a couple 100 yards and then they want to bed down. I mean, if anybody watching this has ever received a substantial injury, you don't have a whole lot of energy. You know, the body can only produce so much adrenaline. So after the shot, if you make a bad shot like that, give them plenty of time. Typically, they're not going to go far. We learned this the hard way last year. You want to get and tell the story on that?
So the buck I shot last year, it was peak of the rut, November, whatever youth season was, and it's 8, 9 in the morning, 8:30.
Yeah.
I see something in the thick, 40 yards to our left. I tell him hit the can. He does it, and the buck comes strolling in on that trail right to me, and it got so close I had to move my gun and do this, lean down on it and shot. And I thought I heard shot it, but it was just so close I couldn't tell. All I saw was brown, but it goes running into the thicket, and I thought it was a good shot, but the way it ran off, he said it wasn't good.
Well, we still waited too.
Yeah, we waited. Then we got down about an hour, and we kept going. We didn't see anything, and then probably 20 more yards into that thicket, it looked like a crime scene. I mean, there was just blood everywhere, and we thought it was down within probably 10, 15 yards of it.
Yeah.
No, it just had that spurt, and then it just kept going.
Yeah.
We didn't.
Which there was a sign on that right where he shot. I did find a piece of corn, and I should have listened to myself, guys. So don't make the same mistake that we did. But it was just one little piece of corn, and that was with a gun too. You know, with an arrow, I think it's a little bit different. It might tear a little bit more. I don't know, maybe not. We should have backed out right then. We didn't. So we had to really use our tracking skills that day. How far do you think we tracked that deer?
Probably about 1.5 miles.
That's what I was thinking, about 1.5 miles. And he went to the thickest, nastiest crap that you could ever hope to see and be part of in your life. But we got him, though, and it was kind of neat to see when we finally did catch up to him. He had crossed a creek, and he had come around a tree, and then he had laid down with his head facing back the way that he came. These deer know. They know these things. And that's exactly how he come around and then laid down, and then he died right there. But he was watching the same way that he come in, because they know that hunters will follow their trail. So that was kind of an interesting thing to see. But we did recover the animal. We got plenty of meat off of him. It was still delicious meat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But guys, it's critical. Wait. Do not push them. We're all guilty of it. Guarantee you, you talk to any hunter, they're all guilty of that at one time or another. I did that with does. I mean, I get pumped up. I get pumped up. But guys, take it from somebody who's getting older and plenty of experience in the woods. Just wait. Well, that big buck that you shot, that's a perfect example.
I was going to say something about that too.
Go ahead.
So my biggest buck 2023, I shot it, and it was angled because it was probably, we were just in the stand, half an hour to maybe an hour that morning.
I was thinking about 45 minutes.
Just got out there, and that's peak rut, also youth season. It just comes running. It didn't stop, really. I mean, even when I shot.
Well, I stopped him.
You tried? Yeah, but
it stopped him for a second.
I mean, yeah, for probably a second.
A literal second, but it did stop him.
So I got a shot off, and I hit it high in the spleen, but it angled down, and it might have clipped his lungs. And
high and back in the spleen. Yep. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you clipped the lung.
Yeah, and it still ran probably, 60 yards?
Yeah, but that's all it went, guys.
Yeah.
So we waited. And deer are going to run at least where we hunt, where they have the ability to go to thick, nasty stuff. That's where those deers are going to run to when they're wounded. But we did good that time, didn't we?
Yeah.
What did we do?
We just pulled out. We went back.
Well, we waited about an hour in the stand. Yep. And then what?
Then we got out, drew back. We went back to the house and just waited for probably, 2 or 3 hours?
I think it was 2 to 3 hours, somewhere in there.
We went back, tracked it, and found it.
Yeah. 80 yards tops is all that deer went.
Yeah.
So, guys, they don't run super far when they're wounded like that. Just be quiet. Again, don't hoot, don't holler. If you're hunting with your buddy, don't let out a nice, yeah, and then high five. Don't do any of that crap that you see on these TV shows. I don't know how they get away with it. Certainly there has to be instances where they don't. Don't push them. Don't let them run further than they need to run. So, guys, if you have bright red blood, usually that's a good indicator of a heart shot or you've hit a main artery. A lung shot will be kind of pinkish in color, and a lot of times it'll be what they call it, frothy. Froth.
Yeah.
It'll have bubbles in it. Yep. If it's a liver shot, usually that's real
crimson,
dark blood. If it's something that's gut shot, you're going to see yellowish, green. There's bile on there. A lot of times there's an odor. Could be chunks of something on your fletching. Those are the big times that you definitely just pull out, guys. So that said, you got any last minute tips and tricks you want to add in there that maybe you personally do?
Just a last tip. I think, especially to add on to his point, if a deer knows that you shot it and you're yelling, I think it's going to run further. Mm-hmm. But I think if it doesn't know what's going on, it just knows it's hurt and it's just going to go lay down. Yep,
absolutely. But guys, if you take anything from this video, that is the number one tip and trick that we can offer you. Is going to be after that shot. And that can mean all the difference in recovering that animal. Could be your dream buck, could be a 110-pound doe for your meat for your family. But it doesn't matter. A deer is a deer, and they have one hell of a will to live.
Yeah.
Don't push them. Don't make it harder on yourself. Don't decrease your odds of finding and recovering that animal. Guys, we're going to be doing a giveaway. I'm going to put up an image here of the Beaver Valley Outdoors logo. So I want you guys to comment. Kevin and I will pick our best comment, and what you're commenting on is we want to know your best tip or trick for deer hunting. Put it down in the comments section. Next weekend, Kevin and I will pick our favorite comment, and if you're chosen, we'll contact you, and then we're going to send you one of these shirts and maybe a few other goodie things that we're going to send to you. So put your stuff down in the comment, and let's see who wins.
Yeah.
So this has been Jeremy from Beaver Valley Outdoors.
This has been Kevin.
See you guys next week.